Put a finger down if you've ever been stalked by a guy your sophomore year of high school and the 3 years following that, and then just when you think you got rid of him, you get another stalker your sophomore year of college, and that lasts all the way till your senior year of college, and now you're finally free and you're afraid to leave the house. This is gonna be a really long story time, so let's get into it. Hi guys, it's Dulce. Welcome back to the channel. Now, if you're new to the channel, welcome. It usually gets crazier than this. It really doesn't. And if you're not new to the channel, hi, welcome back. Please don't be mad at me. I know I've been gone for 6 months. My last post was in May, the day after my birthday, I think. So we got a lot to catch up on. You know how they say a lot can change in a year? Well, a lot can change in 6 fucking months. I just got out of the shower, so that explains why the hair's wet. So we are going to get ready to go absolutely nowhere while I tell you about the 2 stalkers that I've had in my life. And we're gonna do my skincare routine because I have been slacking. This story is one that I don't usually share. I shared it with my best friends, my roommate, and the people that were actually there. This was my sophomore year of high school. I was 15, barely 16 when all this went down. And for legal purposes, I'm not going to use any real names. Duh. For college, I'm also not going to use any real names. Second duh, because oh my lord, it's not even my fault, but this is what I get for being nice to men. What is wrong with me? Why am I trying? Every time I think that I make a decent conversation with a man, with a guy, it ends up blowing up in my face. So I'm never dating, I'm never getting married, and because I decided to swear off all men until I meet my husband, who can actually prove me that all men are not the same, we're gonna be here for a while. Because yes, not all men, but the same 2 guys that I have liked, that I have found cute, have ended up stalking me. What kind of what? Okay, let's go into stalker number 1. Stalker number 1, let's name him. I need a really good name. Let's call him Ben. We're gonna call him Ben because I'm short on creativity right now. So I met Ben when I was obviously a sophomore in high school. We were both 15 at the time. So what happened was that we were in the same class. Where the fuck is my hair product? I'm going to be using the Garnier Fruits whatever Sleek and Shine leave-in conditioner. So basically, oh, do I need that much? They say nickel size, but it's like, that's for thin hair. This is not thin at all. So you just want to put this all in your hair. Make sure you get the roots too and everything, which is obviously, they say obviously this leave-in conditioner. It needs to be damp so it'll actually get the product in. Anyways, so we were sophomores in high school. We were both 15 and I had a crush on another guy. Oh my goodness. This is, whenever I have a crush, y'all need to tell me not to have a crush. I'm putting all this responsibility on you. You need to hold me accountable for my actions, because when I do it, I end up getting into some trouble. My face has been really dry lately, so I don't think I'm going to go in with this one, but I'm going to use this other toner that I bought. And I bought this before we started boycotting, okay? So I don't want to hear it. It's the e.l.f. Skin Holy Hydration Keep Your Balance Toner. My skin has been so fucking dry lately, and I think it's because of the weather. It's been so cold. It's been like the 30s/40s over here in our very lovely state of Massachusetts. I said one word to the guy. I just literally said, oh, I said hi to him, and that just was really bad. And honestly, I didn't think it was that bad until it got, like, I started hearing things. Not crazy, like, voices. I started hearing rumors. And I'm like, rumors? About me? I'm honestly not surprised. I don't even want to say it was a small high school, but it's like the kids. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you went to the same school with the same kids in elementary school. You then go to the same middle school. Perfect. You then go into the same high school, but we had 2 other middle schools and a lot more elementary schools. So all those 3 middle schools in my city ended up meshing into one high school. It was either that high school or some kind of like vocational whatever high school. So I went to the regular high school. That's fine, right? Make sure you don't forget your neck, girls. So obviously I didn't know everyone in my high school, but I knew enough people. And obviously high school, you get to know not everybody, but you see like familiar faces. Jesus. And you're just like, I know of you. I've seen you around, but I've never met this kid before a day in my fucking life. In my whole 15 years of existing at that point, I had no idea who this guy was. Never seen him before in my life. And he ended up, yo. Next, I'm going to go in with the, again, bought this before we boycotted, e.l.f. Skin Holy Hydration Triple Bound Serum. And honestly, I barely use it, so I don't know how I'm running out. It's like a ghost or something. Anyways, I'm just going to do 3 drops. Oh my God. 1, 2, 3. Actually, no. 4. Oh my God. It's cold. It fell on my pants. No. Oh my God. Anyways, so I'm just gonna rub this all over my face. What was I saying? What was I talking about? Oh, met him my freshman year. No, met him my sophomore year. That was completely fine and dandy. Said hi to the kid. And nothing happened for, like, I want to say a good few weeks, if I'm remembering correctly, because this was years ago, that nothing happened. But the funny thing was, I knew his friend because I had a class with him the year before. I remember this. And what happened? And then we had obviously that same class again, but we also had another math class. I remember the math class because I remember the teacher. Sorry for another day. So we obviously get to talking. We're like, oh, we're in the same class, talk about the class and like tests. So as a couple of weeks go by, right? I am completely in my space, in my bubble. Don't really care about what's going on or anything. This is what happens. I remember I was wearing my headphones. I would always wear my headphones because I didn't want to be listening to all that loud chatter and like the blah, blah, blah going on in the hallways. So obviously headphones in. I remember he would always interrupt me while I'm listening to my music, which honestly should have been my first red flag, because if I have my headphones in, I don't want you to be interrupting me. I don't want you to be breaking your neck trying to look at me because I'm trying to listen to my music. How dare you? Second of all, he would always be like, oh, good morning. Well, it was like 2 PM. So I'm like, good afternoon. And he was like, good morning. And I'm like, cute, whatever. Playing that game. That's fine with me. And then it was always a daily thing. And I'm so bad at telling stories. I'm so sorry. There was these other 2 guys in that same science class. And I went to the same middle school as them. So obviously we were not close, but like we knew each other, like we're friends. And it was years since I saw these 2 ever in a class because I was put in with the honor AP, whatever classes. And they were in, I don't want to say regular classes, like normal, that's so bad, but just like not those classes. So obviously I didn't get to see them, but we all ended up in the same science class. And I was honestly I was genuinely happy to see them, obviously, because like I grew up with them. Like we went to the same school, same teachers, same curriculum, same everything. So it was such a breath of fresh air to see familiar faces and people that I actually wanted to see, which I know sounds bad, but it's like if I could hang out with them again, I would. They're cool guys. So we all ended up talking, a whole reunion, whatever. And I remember how one of the guys, I'm gonna call him Jake. So Jake basically said, oh, I haven't seen you in so long. Are you on any social media, whatever? And I was like, you can add my Snap. While he was adding my Snap, guess who came up from behind him? Ben. Ben added me on social media. Did not think anything of it. Cool. Never used it, never said anything. I thought that Ben was cute, so I never did anything. I never said anything. Jesus Christ. Then there was one day where he was just, oh my Lord, it's so bad. We were flirting in high school, especially when you're like just like 15, 16, is awkward. And I'm talking about like back in the day awkward, not this, whatever the kids are doing right now. I'm talking about awkward. So I was like, I honestly genuinely did not even know what I was doing. I was just like there. I was just existing. He, however, had another agenda, a vendetta. Well, no, an agenda. I had the vendetta. We're going to go with my tried and true, the Neutrogena oil-free acne moisturizer, pink grapefruit, great for oily skin. Highly recommend, 10 out of 10. I've been using this since like middle school and it has never done me dirty, except for when I stopped doing my skincare, and obviously my skin hates me. So anyways, we were literally like, this had to be around, I want to say the endish of sophomore year, where you know how barely anyone goes to class because it's like half days or whatever. That was basically what was going on. And I remember one day he came into the class. It was me and literally one kid in that class, and he was just sitting so close to me, literally arm around my waist. And thinking back at it, that was kind of crazy. Like, why did I let him touch me? Ew. So, and he was flirting with me and telling me classes he was gonna take and everything. And I was like encouraging him, and I was like, you should do that. It'll be good for like record. What is it called? The resume. So take hard classes, you challenge yourself, do what you gotta do, and I can help you. Me being nice and a sweetheart, right? As that happened, he got really close to me, which is in hindsight really kind of crazy because this was the middle of the classroom, but no one was there. I'm gonna go with that story because if I remember it incorrectly, I'm going to cry. So basically, he got really close, really comfortable with me, and we were talking, and he was actually genuinely we were having a good conversation. At least in my eyes, in my 15-year-old eyes, we were having a really good conversation. Then his friends come in, they knock on the door, and they freak out over seeing him this close to me, and was just like, I literally saw it through a little window that the doors have, and he literally jumped out of his seat, ran, and I was like, what the what just happened? Are we good? Are we cool? Like, anyways. And I remember calling a girl who I used to be friends with. I was like, this happened. And then she was like, oh, really? You know, just talk, whatever. And she was like, okay, try to talk to him tomorrow. Next day happened. This was like the official last day of school. Girl, I kid you not. I literally saw him in the hallway. He was going this way. I was going that way. We were going opposite directions. Saw him. We made eye contact. He walked past me like he didn't even know me. Girl. Oh my God. So immediately I assumed that I did something wrong. You know what I mean? Did I do something to offend you? What's happening? What's going on? And it was so out of the blue. I did not see it coming in any way, shape, or form. So when he avoided me, I was like, what just happened? Did I just get played? What? Was I used? Oh my God, that's hilarious. And I remember, oh my God, I really wish I would have told someone about this because they would have slapped the shit out of me and I honestly would have deserved it. And I still do deserve it. Oh my God, ow, looking back. I texted him and I was like, are we okay? Are you good? Did something happen? Are you mad at me? Blah, blah. He was like, I remember, I was so pissed off. I was so mad. I was like, are we okay? He's like, sure. I was like, are you angry at me? Like, what happened? He's like, no. And I was like, so you have nothing left to say. So dry. Zero response. And I was like, and I sent the last text ever to him and I was like, okay, I see how it is. And he left me on open. That was so petty. Oh my Lord. I was like, I know this was years ago, but I still didn't get any fucking closure. All right. Do I need it now? No, but it would have been nice. And like, out of breath. I don't talk this much. Oh my Lord. Girl, I really don't talk this much. Now we're going to go in with the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Water Gel. If you know, you know. It's dirty, I know. But this product lasts forever. It's fucking expensive, but it works. You don't need a lot of product because this shit spreads like water. That's why it lasts you forever. Neutrogena will always be my girl. So if they ever get any like hate or controversy, you know what I mean? Or what's it called? Backlash, I'm sorry. But this is the one thing that I'm never going to boycott. Nothing can change my mind. They can be like, we don't like Hispanics. Girl, you know what? Fuck you. But I'm still gonna use your product. It's good for my skin. That's actually really bad. But hey, if it works, it works. You know what didn't work? Me talking to man. Me trying to have one simple conversation with a man. That didn't work. So obviously we didn't talk throughout that entire time. Guess what happened actually during that summer? You know when they say like when two people are in not a relationship, but like when something like that happens, I guess a situationship in a sense, they're like, oh, whoever glows up and whoever glows down, you can tell who's the problem. Girl, let me tell you, I wasn't the fucking problem. And I knew I wasn't the problem. I knew I was a good person. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't deserve, what he did because he made me feel disposable. Like poor, freshly 16-year-old me was like, damn, like that hurt. That's actually really crazy. Girl, do we see this glow? Don't play. Anyways, where was I? Flash forward a couple months, we're back to school. Junior year was, I like to call it my villain year because I wasn't sad. I was just done. I don't get what I do wrong with guys. I'm not having it anymore. I'm not going to be putting myself through this kind of drama. I'm done. I'm not chasing any more guys. And I meant that. And I didn't realize that after I said that, it was going to remain true for the next 6 years. So hey, is what it is, I guess. So that's a big ass brush. Flash forward, we're back. It's our junior year. And honestly, girl, I was thriving. I was mean. I wasn't playing the field, but I was just like, if a cute guy wanted to flirt with me, I'd flirt too. But that was it. So I'm pretty sure it was one guy. He was really cute. I was friends with this guy. I just met this guy and we got along great. Honestly, did not expect that because I thought he was a pain in the ass. No, he's still a pain in the ass, but he's a good guy. We ended up talking about relationships. So I ended up talking about what happened to me. He was like, oh, who is he? Told him the name and he was like, is it that who I think it is? And I was like, this is a picture. I guess I showed him. And he was like, oh my God, I know him. I work with him. I was like, we're gonna plot. So we did. I was like, we're gonna come up with a fake story and you're gonna be like, hey, so this girl is in my class and I know that you two had something going on and I know me and you were like, cool, we're friends. So is this gonna cause any trouble, any drama, blah, blah. Good story in my defense. And I still think it's a good story. And I just basically wanted it for the closure. I really didn't want anything else other than to figure out why. That's all I wanted to know was why. No second chances, no apologies, I guess. I just wanted to know what happened. And one thing about me, when something is left unfinished, it bugs me. And I need to figure out what went wrong, what happened. Not to fix it, but just to know. So that's basically what I ended up doing. And he came back the next day and he was like, oh, this is what he said. Girl, Jesus Christ. I was pissed. I was pissed. And to this day, this is so petty. Jesus. So basically what happened was, ooh, this irritates my soul. It still irritates me. He basically said to the guy who I used to be friends with, was like, oh, know who you're talking about, right? I know who you're talking about. Oh, it wasn't even like that. I don't even really know her like that. Like, you barely even talked. Oh, so you lie. You lie now. You lie. You are a liar. You lied to his face and indirectly to my face by basically saying that you don't know me. We never talked. Even though you asked for literally all my social medias, I rejected giving you my phone number twice. 2 times until you were insistent, and then I finally gave you my number the 3rd time and you never fucking used it. You are a Jesus Christ. And I was taken aback. I was like, oh, now we're done. We're done. No more. You are literally close that chapter of the book, threw the book away, burnt it like the book thief. We're not doing this no more. So that was the end of that. This is where it gets a little rough now because I finally had my peace of mind. I was like, I'm not going to get any answers. And this guy is never going to be serious and just be like, oh, I'm sorry for this, or I just wasn't ready, or what the problem, whatever. That was fine with me. Just move on. We're going to flash forward to between a couple months to senior year. It was between my junior and senior year, and it was all fine and dandy and it was whatever. He was spreading a rumor around that he didn't like me, that he just felt bad for me. That's why he talked to me. That's why he flirted with me. That's why he did all of that, because he felt bad for me. Oh my God. Like, there's something in my soul that like, this is so bad. So basically all of that happened. And I'm just like, this has been almost 2 years since it happened. So the fact that you are still dragging my name through the mud is genuinely, and don't you have anything better to do? I'm pretty sure I flirted with 6 other guys and you're still on this bullshit. This is fucking crazy. You will say what you need to say to make you feel better about yourself. But I absolutely draw the motherfucking line when you drag my name through the fucking mud and you say that you felt bad for me, that you didn't like me, that I was desperate, that this and that, blah, 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 whatever. You're lying on my name. And for what? For you to look cool? For you to act like you're more than what you actually like? Make that make sense. Why would you do that? I never did anything to you. Why would you be so disrespectful to me like that? I never disrespected you in any way, and I never retaliated. I never spread any rumors. If you heard something you didn't like coming from my mouth, it was probably because it was the fucking truth. And I'm so sorry that the consequences of your actions make you look bad. But how am I to blame for that? So basically, he was spreading that rumor around that he felt bad for me, didn't like me, and all of that bullshit. And I remember being like, what? And nobody wanted to tell me this because they knew how I'd react. And obviously I couldn't confront him months after it happened. You know what I mean? Like, this was already like months somebody told me, and I was like, why wouldn't you tell me this sooner? Did you at least defend my name? Did you at least say something? No? Whatever, that was completely fine. Now, we are going to move on to my freshman year of college. Oh my God, it really didn't stop. This was so bad, really terrible. What ended up happening? I'll tell you. After 3 damn years, that entire incident happened. We are 18 years old, literally legal adults. And I thought that this was during COVID. So I thought that we left finally everything behind us. No more high school drama. That's it. This is college. Fresh start. I was wrong. Of course, I was wrong. He worked. Where did he work? Just expose his location. Post the address right here. He worked with my cousin's best friend. So my cousin's best friend, where did she work? I can't remember, but they worked together. The guy who played me, so bad, the stalker, and they were talking. And I remember my cousin told me the story weeks after it happened. I was like, girl, why didn't you tell me as soon as you heard this? And she was like, I knew how you'd react. You'd go off, blah, 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 blah. Absolutely, I'd go off because after 3 years, you're criminally insane. There's something wrong in the head for you to still be talking about the same bullshit that happened that didn't even last an entire year. It was just some weird fucked up situation. We were kids. We didn't know what was going on. We had no sense of like, relationships, of love, or whatever the fuck, right? Like no. Anyways, and it was the same fucking story that he was spreading and using my name, saying, oh, he never really liked me, he felt bad for me, he just did it to make me feel better. Basically, again, placing himself onto higher ground and making him seem more desirable, I guess, for lack of better words, than what he actually was, which is a piece of shit. And I was like, but the funny thing was, this is such a small city. It's so small. What goes around comes around. That woman, told my cousin, and then my cousin told me. Small fucking world, girl. Small world. And obviously some time again has passed until somebody told me what was going on, and I couldn't do anything without seeming like stupid. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know. It finally stopped. At least I assume it finally stopped because I do not keep in contact with anyone from high school whatsoever. That's a done thing. Like, no thank you. And I remember this one time. This was like, oh my God. I had to be a sophomore in college when this happened. A girl who I used to be friends with sent me a screenshot. She was like, girl. And I was like, what happened? Is there tea? Like, tell me, I want to know. She sent me a screenshot of him. I was like, what the fuck am I looking at? She's like, this is him now. He's ugly. Oh my God. I know, girl. I know. I was appalled by the picture. I was like, you never used to look like that. What happened? And she was like, now look at you compared to him. Girl, you are so pretty. Look at a glow up. And I'm like, I know. So we closed the chapter on stalker number 1. This is where the second one comes in. This happened my sophomore year of college. I need to stop being a sophomore, honestly. Thank God I'm never being a sophomore ever again in anything. Let's make that clear, because it's always the second year that no. Anyways, there was this guy. Let's call it, I don't want to use the name Ryan either. Oh my God. What's a good name? Come on. Caleb, sure, let's go with Caleb. Okay, this was after COVID, where everything was slowly getting back to normal, but everybody still had to wear masks. I was in my very first class in person for my sophomore year of college. I go in and I see... Fuck! No! Oh my God, that's bad. That's so bad. That's so bad. I go into the class and I see Caleb. And I remember walking towards the back because I was a little late and I got lost. I see Caleb. He was sitting this way and I see him and I immediately see him go. Caleb saw me for the very first time. And I was like, and he tried to play it off by looking next to the window. And I was like, bro, I saw you. It's good. It's all cool. I know. Like, it's fine. Whatever. Next, we're going to move on. And it was, I think we barely talked for like a couple of weeks until we were in a group thing. So Caleb, I was kind of ish giving him some signs, some signals. But there was this other girl that also wanted his attention. I was like, he likes me. He don't like you. She made it so obvious. Oh my Lord. I remember this one time, girl. We were both sitting in one end of the classroom, like here next to the windows, and she was all the way on the other fucking side near the door. So I was literally pulling up an assignment on my phone when the professor was like, oh, hey guys, like, can you pull this up, like whatever on your phones? And then Caleb was like, oh, I don't have it. Can somebody show me? And so right when I was about to like turn to him and like show him, the girl all the way from the door got up, literally sped across the fucking classroom and was like, here you go. God, it's glass. You're not hiding anything. Girl, what? And then he just kind of disappeared from the face of the earth. He was gone. I was like, damn, that's actually kind of crazy. Like, you gone? Just whatever. Flash forward my senior year now of college, and I saw him again. What was this? It was some kind of science class. Oh, again with the sciences. Oh my Lord. It was like this bio. What was this? I don't remember. I barely showed up in that class. No, I did go, but I barely talked in the class because I remember he asked a question and I raised my hand to answer and he was like, no. And I didn't talk for the rest of the semester. I didn't talk for the rest of the semester because I was embarrassed. So don't ever say no to me like that because I will never speak to you again. And I didn't. I did not. So we ended up going on a field trip in a sense where we learned about the electrical wiring and shit around the entire campus. And we had to go down to the boiler room and it was giving Five Nights at Freddy's, at least from what I've seen in the trailers. And I was like, I don't fuck with this at all. Basically, we would all meet and we also went into this kind of laboratory type thing. I was in a science major, obviously. Were I would have been like, oh, okay, like I know what this is. No, I don't. Genuinely don't. I remember he would always keep an eye out for me. He would look for me constantly in the corner. He needed to make sure that I was in the corner of his eye. I couldn't leave his sight. And it was consistently him looking, turning around, trying to find me. If I was like in the back, he would like wait there for a second and then start walking so he could see me. I swear, I'm not making this up. Every time I share this story, my friends think I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. I know the signs. I know the fucking signs. So there was this one time we were walking to like this kind of like boiler room thing and then into another room where like there was like these cable things or whatever. It was some kind of weird like Jane the Jungle type shit. As we were walking, I was talking to this girl and I made a joke and he laughed and I was like, yeah, I'm funny too. I know. We were walking and then we entered this room and then there was like kind of like this wall. So like there was like, you know, and I was leaning against this wall and an average sized person could have easily walked past me and gone to the other side. You know what this guy did? I was standing right there, like in the corner, my backpack on. Thank God my backpack was on. And I was just waiting and I felt pressure on my backpack. I was like, I was genuinely freaking out. I was like, this man is literally fucking me. And nobody's saying it. Nobody's doing anything. Nobody's saying anything. I felt him, literally his chest. It was like just his upper side pressing against, because he was tall, pressing against my backpack. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God. And I don't know, I froze. I was like, what, do I scream? Like, what's going on? And then more people started to walk past him. And that's when he realized, oh, maybe I should, you know, get off of her and go to the other side, in which he did. Oh my Lord, when I tell you that I immediately scrambled out of there, ran like a fucking cartoon character to get to my fucking apartment where I was living at the time, because I could not handle being close to that guy ever again. And guess what happened when we neared the end of the semester? He disappeared again. Something about this guy not staying for the final like days of like classes is weird. But it's like, guy, you were giving me Dahmer vibes. Why would you do that to me? I'm literally nice to you. I smile at you and you want to tear me from limb? What? Obviously we graduated, so I literally never saw him again. So that's the end of that story. Yeah, no, I have a problem. And it's not even a problem that I want. It's just a problem that I have. So whenever I try to talk to a guy nicely, I end up getting stalked, followed, helded, unwanted holding from them. And so that's why I'm never dating. I'm never leaving my house. I don't want to leave my house. I don't want to see a man. I don't want to look at another man. It's disrespectful enough when I go out in public and they're there. So let's make that make sense. I don't want to see you. I don't want to hang out with you. Please do not breathe the same air in my personal space and bubble. I do not want you there. Please leave me alone. Thank you. So basically that's a wrap on Jesus Christ. Oh, wait. Did I ever put a finger down? Oh, it does like 2 stalkers, so 2 fingers down. It was just weird. That's the only way that I can describe it. And when people ask me, oh, why don't you date? It's kind of hard to rehash that in about a minute. So, yeah, now you guys know why I don't date, why I'm not necessarily scared of dating, but it's like I don't want to go through the same things that I went through in the past, which obviously I know I won't, but it's like, how can I trust that? You know what I mean? It's just meeting the right person in a sense, but it's like, I don't want that right now. If it happens, it happens, cool, but it's like, I'm not actively looking. I don't want to be actively looking. That's the story of me and my stalkers. Oh boy, this was not a fun story. I know I'm laughing, but if I don't laugh and smile, I'll cry. And I don't really want that. Thank you guys so much for watching this very disturbing story time. If you liked it, sub if you want, leave a little comment, maybe share your stories of you getting horrendously stalked, or you know, cute little story time like this one. I will see you guys in the next video. When? On a Thursday. Which Thursday? You never know now, do you? Deuces.